Developer update here in Marvel Snap. We are going to be reacting to what the developers have to share with us here, breaking down our priority list of the brand new cards releasing in the next season, and a way to potentially game the system around the economy overhaul coming through the Spotlight caches. Let's dive in.
You can do it.
What? And watching all the backgrounds. Is that Colossus Phoenix Force? Yes. Phoenix Force, Jean Grey, Legion, Mirage. Ooh, these variants, these card backs. The Phoenix Force card back might become my favorite of all time.
Hey everyone, it's Ben Brode from Second Dinner, and we are doing something special for Marvel Snaps.
They're doing the hot ones.
Hottest season yet, Rise of the Phoenix.
They
Our
are.
friend Chef Zach
Yes.
Scherer is here at Bello by Sandro Nardone,
Anyone been here?
where he's offered to make us a series of scorchingly hot dishes in honor of this season. I refused to take on this challenge by myself, so I'm here with Young Woo, our co-founder and chief production officer for moral and gut support. Thanks for being here, Young.
At least he looks happy to be here.
Excited to be here.
How's your spice tolerance?
I'm Korean, so I'm good to go.
Does that count? Does it actually transfer? It's like a different kind of spice in Eastern cuisine.
Heck, how spicy is this gonna get, bro?
It's gonna get pretty hot. First up in our 5-course, Phoenix Force Especial.
Anytime that the chef is chuckling as he serves you something is a no for me.
Korean chili spicy wings.
If this is how it's going to be, I think I can take it.
No.
So,
Okay,
Brad, why
okay.
don't you tell us about why this season is so fire?
Oh, all right. So, Rise of the Phoenix is based on one of my favorite stories from X-Men comics. The Phoenix Force is a cosmic power that fuses with characters and their souls.
It is so beautiful. Look at this card art. 5/6 on reveal. Revive one of your destroyed cards and merge with it. That card can move each turn. All right, so this is something that the community has been asking for a very long time, to be able to have a destruction analog to Hela, being able to recall a destroyed card back from the graveyard, where Hela is doing it for discard. Very different effects. I guess because we're pulling one random card, it's more akin to a Ghost Rider. At the 5-cost price point, it's a little challenging to be able to work in. It could get a little bit clunky. Also, because the destroyed card is random, you're going to have to be very judicious in terms of how you are teching out your deck to be able to get the synergy together. Having the flexibility of being able to move it every turn seems very interesting. I think it's going to be hard to be able to get the right combination to really be able to capitalize on that side of the ability. The current versions of Destroy don't really care if any of their cards are necessarily getting brought back for the final turn on a +6 stat line. It's a lot easier to be able to discard a high value target than it is to destroy a high value target within time to be able to bring it back from Phoenix Force. Because it's so hard to be able to combo with the null, right? Once you're building into these final couple turns in destruction, everything just feels really tight. You want to be able to play 2 6 costs so often, and so now working in an extra 5 cost on the turn where you probably want to be running a number of destructions yourself, I think it's going to be a slightly different deck that wants to use Phoenix Force.
And it's our season pass card. She can revive destroyed cards and merge with them, and then you can move it every turn. I like to play a destroyed deck.
There it is. All right, so this is the meme build. The animation is incredible.
And it's our season pass card.
All right. The insane thing is being able to pair Phoenix Force with Human Torch, which is what they've done here.
She can revive destroyed cards.
All right, so they played Human Torch on 1. They played Carnage on 2. They played Jeff on 3, moved him over, Shuri on 4, and then Phoenix Force on 5, which then merges with Human Torch to become an 8 power card, which then doubles because of Shuri. If they were able to move Human Torch earlier, obviously it gets even better, and then they can get additional doublings from the ability to move Phoenix Force at the beginning of the final turn. It is insane, of course, if you're able to pull it off, but also it's perfect draw. That card combo is getting pretty long to be able to get Human Torch early, get a destruction on him early as well, and then still have the assurance of being able to bring him back in the Shuri. We're going to need to find some more pieces to be able to give this some consistency if it's actually going to be playable in the meta.
And merge with them, and then you can move it every turn. I like to play a destroy deck mixed with a move deck, so I can destroy cards like Human Torch, then fuse with them and move them and double their power again. Some of the folks on the team were talking about playing.
Oh yeah, Taskmaster is the way that you distribute to the other side. All right, but it just makes the combo even more clunky, or more complex, I should say. I love this. The hand here. Mirage, Legion, Howard, Jane Grey, Storm, Echo. I don't think these are good cards to run in a deck altogether, but it is fun to be able to see these all showcased together.
Phoenix with Shuri or Taskmaster. That sounds super fun to me.
I think we're doing pretty good. Are you ready for
I would love to know how many takes it took them to be able to get that situation.
round 2?
I'm ready. Of course, one was easy. I think I can do round 2 easily.
In honor of the goddess who makes discard decks special, here's Hella's Spicy Jalapeno Chow.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Anytime it's green and spicy, it's just not for me flavor-wise.
Oh, God. Oh.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the new season's variants?
Okay, so the Phoenix Force has merged with a lot of hosts over the years. We've got some of them as variants. So check out this mighty Colossus Phoenix Force variant.
Oh, he's so beautiful. If only he was good and there was a reason to play him, but there's not. There's not a reason to play him. Don't use this card.
We've also got this stunning Magic.
Even better. If only there was a reason to play her. There's almost not. The only decks that are running Magic are Mr. Negative, which is not very good, and then Destroy, which I think is actually a little bit better. The Destroy decks that are really trying to key off of Nimrod and his recent buff. And with the Magic here, that is something that's going to be interesting to see alongside Phoenix Force, is if there is connections to Wolverine and Deadpool. Can Phoenix Force bring back a past version of Wolverine or Deadpool? And then we can be able to capitalize into a final turn off of those guys coming back. That could actually be a world where it is worth it. A large Deadpool got destroyed on turn 4. That could be something that I could realistically see having happen, and then you get an extra guy, and you've got the Deadpool in your hand to be able to combo with something else. Maybe there's something there.
Phoenix Force variant. And this epic Phoenix Force variant by the legendary Alex Horley.
It's so good.
You know, I think I'm starting to see Phoenix.
Please petition second dinner. Can we, in the shop, have cards that are upgraded to at least purple, so that you can see the animated effect of the cards before you buy them? I mean, come on. The shop would be so much more interesting if you were scrolling by and you saw cards with effects rather than just gray, flat, in their most boring state possible. Then you buy them and you watch a quick animation of them like devolving into gray into your collection, and then you want to be able to upgrade them so they can regain their luster. I don't know. Something I would like to see.
Variant by the legendary Alex Horley.
You know, I think I'm starting to see Phoenix Force variant of Ben Brode. Are you doing okay, buddy?
I think so, but I'm scared of this next dish. Let's do it.
For course 3, we had a little zap with Electra's Pasta Assassina.
Okay.
I don't normally think of pasta as being that dangerous in terms of spice, but I suppose the sauce could hide anything.
Wow. Oh my God, I'm nervous.
All right, guys, in the comments, what's the spiciest thing that you've had? I'm pretty boring. I don't have anything too exciting to share. I've had the Thai hot curry. I didn't like it. It was too much for me, but I did have it. Just what they would normally serve at a Thai restaurant.
Is it spicy?
Okay.
You know, mine's not spicy at all.
What are you talking about?
He's got a great poker face.
Wow.
Okay, tell us about Series 4 and 5 cards this season.
Is that how the Koreans do it? They just tell themselves it's like a mind over body thing. It's not spicy. It's not spicy at all. And then they don't feel it.
Yeah. This fiery season wouldn't be complete without some hot new cards. And we've got some. First up, we've got part of the spiciest X-Men love triangle, and first host of the Phoenix Force, the ultimate telepath, Jean Grey.
True, Jean Grey. All right, we'll run through our priority list. We'll recap our priority list once we've covered all the cards. Jean Grey, number 1. Blow your caches when Jean Grey is coming into the game. Oh, baby. 3/3. This is the card that I see as the meta warping terror. I was entertaining that maybe she might even have been changed from the data mine that we saw a month ago because of how insane this seems. Ongoing. Players must play their first card here each turn if possible. Location lockdown is already in a great spot, and then you give them a tool like Jean Grey. That's insane. Also, Kitty and Jeff, guys, the developers seem determined to make these cards the premier cards, being able to play a cheap card to her location and then combo the rest of your turn elsewhere while your opponent is committed to having to follow up there. She can call off control cards that the opponent wants to play. If you play a high priority target on 5, well, I guess it would be, you would want to set her up on, I guess it gets a little bit more complicated than that necessarily. But if you have a high priority target like Hawk on 4, you could play Jean Grey on 5, and then it's going to be much, much harder for your opponent to land a control card up against the Hawk in the mid game, in the mid to late turns. Their combos get a lot more bound up, and even just playing Jean Grey plus Mojo is great because you know that the opponent is committed to having to fill up their side of the location. You can then analyze and see, have they overcommitted and I actually want to put most of my power elsewhere, or did they fill it up very early with weak cards, and are you going to be able to top them in the final turns? It's all the power is back on your side of the board, especially when you have a deck that is equipped to be flexible in terms of playing to the location but then spreading power elsewhere.
And in Marvel Snap, she has an ongoing effect where you have to play your first card at her location each turn, if possible. And perhaps you should fill Jean's location with cards you can move, like Nightcrawler, Jeff the Baby Land Shark, or
Jeff
Vision.
is great. Jeff is great.
This card interacts in interesting ways with cards like Polaris, Sandman.
Polaris. I feel like normally you wouldn't want to continue to attack that location by dragging extra there because you know that the opponent has to play there, but in terms of forcing them to overcommit to that location very early, something like the Debris Jean Grey Polaris, I mean, they're going to be gunked up so quickly. Then you're going to have to find something else to do on how you don't overcommit to that location. But of course, there are ways to be able to get around that. We see Vision, Beast in hand here, and Cloak on board as well.
Or Doctor Doom. I also like moving Jean Grey with cards like...
Is that Venomized Cloak? The Cloak has teeth? I guess that makes sense. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen that variant very much. So Cloak allows the opponent to be able to move their cards as well. It opens up a huge dimension of mind games, and it's just a tempo play in and of itself. I don't know how much I really like it, but there could be something there as well.
Ghost Spider or Cloak. We're also releasing Legion.
Okay, drink some milk. Gotcha. As Ben was saying, we're releasing a card called Legion. Legion says, on reveal, replace every other location with this one.
What is going on? This face, this hair, I hate it, and I don't like the effect either. I think Legion is a hard pass. The shenanigans of being able to manipulate locations because of how pivotal they are in Snap, in fringe cases, is going to be able to win you games, but it's just not going to be consistent or reliable enough that I don't think that you need to go out of your way to chase this card. I wouldn't necessarily feel bad if you cracked it open. It seems like it has some fun potential, especially around being able to interact with the featured locations that they run quite consistently, being able to have some really, really disgusting ranked ladder decks with Legion during the time that a featured location is running could be hilarious, but I feel like that's kind of the limit and he's not actually going to be competitive.
Imagine playing Legion with cards like Storm and...
Okay, so this is what everybody's going to talk about, right? It actually is not nearly as good as I think a lot of people are imagining initially in their minds. So, what has happened here is they played Deadpool on 1, Bucky on 2, Luke on 3, Storm on 4. The Bucky or Luke are interchangeable. They don't get to play. You don't get to play Storm on 3 and Legion on 4 because he's a 5 cost. The only way that would be possible is if there is Elysium already on the board. There's no energy cheat possible that you have control of being able to play that would be able to get that together to work. So what you're doing is you're playing Storm on 4 and then Legion on 5 to be able to spread the flooding. The problem is that when flooding is distributed in this way, then it does not lock down the way that this first one does. So this flooding was created by Storm on 4. This flooding and this flooding was created by Legion on 5, which means they are not going to lock down until turn 6. It doesn't actually end the game early. You have not been, basically, you have not been able to lock the game down early by playing Legion and Storm in this way. What you have done is you have undone the effects of these other locations. These are now, you're effectively playing with ruins here, a completely open battlefield, which is very interesting, especially with Kiln here, that's going to open back up for turn 6, where the opponent might have been thinking that they already had the advantage with their Punisher and Wolfsbane here versus the Luke Cage, whereas now you have the flexibility of coming back in. So actually, Legion's best use, I feel like, is as a counter to Storm. They storm a location, they play in on turn 4, they are confident that they're ahead, and then they line up their Spider-Man, and you play Legion. You've now developed even better tempo on the board, and also distributed whatever this location was that you played Legion to overwrite the flooded location, open it back up for the final turn, and suddenly you have all the flexibility to be able to plan out your final turn.
Flood every location. Or copy a tricky location like negative zone
That seems
or
really
best
bad.
domain and surprise your opponent.
Next up is Echo. Echo says, after your opponent plays an ongoing card here, remove its abilities.
So much ongoing hate. I think Echo is great. I think that if you are specifically running something like a Wong deck, or you are seeing a lot of Devil Dino or Hawk in terms of the meta bubble here, then Echo's looking fantastic. Even the High Evolutionary with the Giant Hulk having the ongoing effect taken away from the Hulk is a big deal. And so you can significantly pinch your opponent if you're running something. The myriad of different ways that you can control your opponent here can get quite hilarious, especially with Cerebro 2s. I think Cerebro 2s kind of pops off with that. You have Goose on one side, Echo on the other, and just watch your opponent sweat over how they can possibly produce enough power to be able to stop you. I think she's going to be a little more niche, but again, Wong being able to cancel out Cosmo is huge. I know Cosmo is not super prevalent in the meta right now, but neither is Wong. And of course, as more decks use Wong, then more opponents want to use Cosmo. It's the balancing factor, and Wong is incredibly powerful. He's able to run over the game effectively on his own. Few decks are able to keep up with Wong when the Odin, and then you have a combo of any card sandwich there in the middle. So I think that Echo is a great tech card to be able to have. Does she edge out the Kitty Pryde or the Nebula or the Sunspot to become another 1-cost that gets into the mix? I think she's right on the edge, especially if Nebula sees a nerf going down to also starting 1-0, which would be hilarious if the 3 premier 1-costs were all 1-0s. I guess, I mean, it would make symmetrical sense. We're getting a lot out of Echo here. I could see her edging her way into a couple different decks.
Finally, a way to deal with Cosmo.
Exactly.
And lastly, it's Mirage. On reveal, copy the lowest cost card in your opponent's hand into your hand and give it +2 power.
Wow, Mirage looks good. I think that she is sneakily even better than Echo, and I like Echo a lot. I was just singing her praises. I think that Mirage, so our priority list is Jean Grey, Mirage, Echo, Legion, with the Echo being probably bumping up above Mirage in the situation where you're a player who wants to run a lot more Wong decks. Then I think that Echo could give you a little bit more utility and would be a great tool to have in your toolbox. Here, on reveal, copy the lowest cost card in your opponent's hand and buff it. Maria Hill could never. She just murders Maria Hill. She's going to play excellently alongside the Furious Dino deck because you have the synergy of this card that you are copying, getting discounted by the Quinjet, also buffing the Collector if you're choosing to run the Collector, giving you scouting information of the opponent's hand. As we look at the meta read of the most common cards that she is going to be able to bring over to your hand, you're looking at playing up against High Evolutionary, so you could be pulling Wasp. Wasp is something that they like to be able to hold the combo alongside Hulk. Having a 0-3 that also debuffs 2 of the opposing cards is insane. If you're playing up against Bounce, it's very unlikely that you get a buffed Kitty. Very unlikely. Kitty's normally always coming to the board every single turn. More likely that you're going to be getting something like a Mysterio or a Hitmonkey. So in the Bounce mirror, like if you're playing Bounce as well, you can just pop off. And I think that getting Hitmonkey is pretty good anyway to be able to grab, especially with the +2 buff on him. Your deck is less likely to be able to combo a number of cards altogether. Devil Dino can have some combo potential, a little bit harder to work in the Monkey though for like a big burst. Looking at other matchups, what she pulls is not going to be as spectacular, but I think that is still just good enough to be able to play. She's only a 2 cost. And she's giving you the 2/2 body and then a buffed card back to hand that could be synergizing with other pieces in your deck. So I'm very excited to be able to use Mirage and putting her very high on my priority list of new cards releasing. So once again, our list is Jean Grey, Mirage, Echo, and then Legion. With Legion on a full pass, Echo is kind of the fanboy special. Mirage, I think, is just good enough that you're going to want to have her in your deck building arsenal, and Jean Grey is the must acquire.
One of my favorite cards in Marvel Snap is a White Queen. You get to copy your opponent's highest power card so you know what's coming in the last turn. Mirage lets you know what your opponent is up to even earlier in the game so you can formulate your best strategy to shut them down.
Young, how are you making it look so easy, bro?
Well, I'm Korean, and also the food is not that spicy.
You didn't
right?
even finish your last dish. All right, let's bring it on. Let's go.
Coming up next is our hottest limbo, Pizza Diavola.
This is dangerous. Wow. Oh my gosh.
This looks dangerous.
It's very spicy, and the cheese is helping a little bit. This shouldn't be possible.
We have 2 flaming hot locations this coming season. If you can handle the first one, I'll do the second one for you.
That's right. Okay. The first is the white hot room.
Wow.
The first person to fill this location gets +3.
Can you guys see the glare of the white hot off of my face in the camera? I think you can. It's that bright. This is crazy. First to fill this gets +3 max energy. I mean, so this is very akin to the Raft, but White Hot Room is never going to give you up, it's never going to let you down, and it's never going to run around and destroyer you. What you pull out of the Raft can be an absolute dud, synergizing in terms of just the 6 costs that are terrible to run with your deck without other synergies around them. But just +3 max energy, I feel like this could just translate to win the game. I don't know. I guess there's maybe a world where if you rushed too quickly and then did not have the flexibility of being able to pull cards away from that location, that then the opponent is able to beat you there, and then they can lock down one other location through some other trick that they have to still be able to pass you up. So it's basically an analog to the Raft. I like it. It's, again, Kitty and Jeff, guys. Having the flexibility of being able to add points to the location and then move them away so that your side is not locked out is so important. The developers are absolutely determined to make Jeff one of the best cards in the game.
3 max energy. I don't know what you're going to do with +3 max energy, but it's not going to be good.
Then there's Lake Hellas. At Lake
Bounce gets even better. No. 1 cost cards here have +2 power. Are you kidding me? It's fun. I like me some 1 cost decks, but Bounce is already very good. Be ready for 24 hours of nonstop Bounce when this is the featured location on ranked. I say that and I cringe inside. I'm very curious if they're going to be touching Bounce with some nerfs, because it feels like the deck is already at the spear tip, and with this location releasing, it could generate a lot of negative feelings if the most powerful deck is the only thing that's viable to run for a while.
Hellas, 1 cost cards get +2 power. Now it's not so bad to draw rocks anymore. Are you sure you can keep going?
I agreed to do it. We have to do it.
All right, I believe.
Shout out to Thanos, of course, as well, doing very well with the lake location and getting the extra buffs.
Let's bring it on.
This is the hottest dish we've ever made at Bello. It's called Nerf Ultron.
Oh my god. Oh no.
They put a little flour on it for garnish just to spite you. Oh no.
Nervous? I'm so nervous.
Okay, I brought you these 3 cards. If you can just get through these 3 cards, it's the end.
I just have to read these?
You just have to get through these.
We want more players to get their hands on the newest cards that we release. So So later this month, we launch Spotlight caches that will allow you to open more Series 4 and 5 cards on the collection road. If you want to know more, check out the blog and game. We're on MarvelSnap.com.
Okay, so they're not going to show us more stuff. So with this shot of Ben Brode, let's break it down. The Spotlight caches are going to be the brand new way that you get cards. It's a give and it's a take. Spotlight caches are going to be giving you a great shot at being able to pull the newest cards releasing. You get 25% chance on pulling the brand new card every single week. Let's see if we can pull up a diagram. Here we go, Spotlight caches. These appear every 10 caches along the collection track, so every 120 collection levels, you get enough resources out of doing your dailies to be able to get one every week. I believe you should be able to open 5 every month because you get a couple bonus credits through Ranked Ladder progress, the Conquest Store progress, the Battle Pass, etc. But in general, you're just going to be opening one every week. You can hoard them throughout the month to be able to target which release you specifically want because they contain the brand new card that released that week, and then 2 Series 4 or 5 cards that are specifically being spotlighted at week. These will change every single week. Obviously, this one will as well. And then you have a 25% chance of pulling a random Series 5 or Series 4 card. Once you open one of these, and then if you open another in the same week, only the rewards that you didn't earn before are available. Also, if you already own one of these cards, it will be replaced in the box with a premium variant. And then you get into some more nuance of if you open 4, then the box will repopulate with only variants, but you still have the chance of the random card. If you own all of the random cards, if you are series complete in its entirety and you open the random, then you'll just get a random premium variant. It seems really interesting, and these variants are also, they're meant to be premium and also somewhat exclusive. I believe that they come into the general economy after a certain amount of time, but like a very long wait. It's crazy to me that they're going to be pumping out so many variants that they can afford to do this out of the Spotlight caches. But overall, we are going to be receiving so many more cards directly out of this system. You'll just be getting a lot less of the rest of the currency. Let's see. So we have on average 4,000 tokens, 800 gold, and 4,000 credits coming out of the current version of the caches. And under the new version, the caches in between the Spotlight caches are going to be dramatically worse. They will not contain any gold. They will contain 1/10 the amount of tokens, and they will contain about the same number of credits. They will also contain about the same number of cosmetics. So this means that to be able to quote unquote game the system, you want to be able to open as many of the current caches as possible, but you also want to hoard as many of the Spotlight caches as possible. And so if you're close to series complete, you're going to be getting a lot more variants than before, but then the same for the other amount of resources. All right, guys, so a lot of people have been talking, should I hoard? Should I open now so that I can still get tokens or gold because I like tokens and I like gold? What should I do, especially if I am close to series complete? What you should do is just not update the game immediately. The developers have not told us whether the Spotlight caches, they will, okay, so a little bit of backstory. Any caches that you hoard now will be converted into Spotlight caches at the appropriate rate along the collection track. We don't know if they are going to be unlocked based on your current status on the collection track, or if they are going to be unlocked off of a starting point at 500 collection level. The developers have not told us one or the other. So your optimum opening pattern is going to be to open the 9 caches that are the current value in between the Spotlight caches, but then save the Spotlight caches to allow them to convert. You just don't know where you need to start to be able to get that to actually happen. So once the update drops, I would recommend not getting it immediately. Turn on whatever content creator you enjoy the most, and then watch them check out their account to see where the Spotlight caches have populated, understand what is consistent across other players' experiences, and then if there is a way for you to be able to do it, open as many of the caches under their current resource values as possible, pop the update, and then crack open or just save your stockpile of Spotlight caches to be able to target the weeks where you are missing the most cards or potentially have the greatest desire for the brand new card releasing. Oh yeah, Bedwood's still struggling with this hot sauce.
It's getting worse.
It burns, it burns.
We also have more variants coming. Mystique, Archer variant, American Chavez, Ryan Gonzalez variant, Wong band variant.
Wong has some of the worst variants in the game, which is a tragedy because I love the card.
Echo, Priest, Peach, Momoko variant.
Peach Momoko does not miss.
Adam Warlock, Alex Horley variant.
Yo, with the Infinity Gauntlet, let's go.
And
One more card. One more card.
There's one more variant, Young.
Oh, there's one more variant.
And a Deadpool Max Greg variant.
That one's fun. That one's fun.
There's one more card. You can do it.
Ah! Did you finish yours?
You know, I don't have the biggest appetite.
You're supposed to finish it. I can't be the only one. This sucks.
It makes me feel so bad for him.
We can announce that we're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con.
Hey, any of you guys gonna be able to make it? I am not. If that got your hopes up, you're not gonna get to meet me, but you can meet Brode.
It's July. We're gonna talk about the art of Marvel Snap. Hopefully we get to run into some of you in person. It'll be really fun.
Cheers.
Why are you not dying?
You know, to be honest, I asked the chef to not make my food spicy at all.
What? What?
Greatest betrayal in anime history.
Come on! All right, well, thanks again, Chef Zach and Bello, for the incredible food. And thank you for watching and playing Marvel Snap. Let us know what you think about Rise of the Phoenix. We think it's gonna be awesome. See you next time. Betrayal! It's getting worse.
The outtakes here must have been so good.